Hello, and welcome everyone. It's really great to have you here, and I want to welcome you all to our final town hall this year. Um, this moment sort of feels special. It's almost like the last lap in a race where you look back and glance at what has been achieved and realize just how far we've come, how far things have moved forward, and also where we are going. It's been a year of intense focus, hard decisions, and also great momentum. We've seen some major milestones. And so today we want to talk about three things. Looking back at some of the wins since our last town hall, what has happened and where we are, catching a glimpse at the direction for 2025, and of course, unveiling important new initiative for the builders in the ecosystem that really pushes things forward and enables us to make some of the great ideas in the ecosystem a reality. So, with this said, let's just dive in. To start, we'll take a look at a few of the wins, foundational wins, if you will. Some of the most important upgrades to look at will be around the network. And I cannot stress enough how much progress has been done on all fronts on the network to improve not only the performance and speed, but then also to improve UX, to enable builders to build faster, better, simpler on the most advanced blockchain architecture in the world. So as we look at the next steps for 2025, we specifically have three major milestones that we'll look at: the release of Andromeda, the release of Barnard, and the release of Supernova. Now, the really big thing will, of course, be Supernova, where the sub-second finality where the performance just goes to a completely new level. And that will literally require us to still re-engineer some of the important things, components that we have in our architecture. Now, the most immediate release will be the Andromeda release, and that is already code complete. It's already in heavy testing, and that's probably about to go out sometime during end of January or early February. Now, two important things to note here. One expected really cool feature is Relayed v3. A lot of people in the ecosystem are using this feature and will benefit greatly of it. So we're very much looking forward to having this live very soon, and probably it's going to be end of January or sometime in February. In addition to that, there's also an update that will come on sovereign chains. A great progress has been made on that front as well, just finalizing the SDK, making sure that we're entering the kind of stabilization phase that we really want, such that components work as expected and they're ready to enter an audit phase. Now, as you remember, if you've been here through the years, you are reminded always that it's not only about building the code, but then making sure that it really works as expected. Because if something doesn't work correctly, then of course there's a lot at stake, and we want to make sure that the quality is as high as possible. This is why stabilization is crucial. It will happen during January, and then probably at the start of February, will enter an audit phase to make sure that everything works as expected and things are ready afterwards to be really taken outside in production to people all around the world. Now, a lot of this progress you'll hear more about during the next period, just because we want to share these updates, make sure that the builders know about them, but then also the broader community hears about them and understands better what some of the things are that we're building under the hood. We've, of course, put a lot of progress, a lot of effort during the years to make sure that Multiverse X is state of the art in terms of performance, has zero downtime, and whatever challenges we encounter, we tackle with utmost focus and speed in order to deliver a really compelling experience on the network. Now, moving a bit beyond that, there are also a few things that have happened in the meantime, one of which is the X-Day Munich satellite event. Of course, we've had a lot of discussions around real-world assets at that point, tokenization and so forth, with different partners from the ecosystem and outside of the ecosystem. We've also seen a demonstration of Xoxno ticketing for the people that were present, just demonstrating a use case that is live and works right now on the Multiverse X chain. And then most importantly, we've brought builders together to connect, to sit, to discuss about the next steps and strategize on how we together can really win. Now, of course, a lot of other things have been happening in the meantime. We've started the podcast through which we want to share a different version of the story, much more unfiltered, much more focused for the general audience, as opposed to the technical maybe discussions or specific updates that we generally have for the ecosystem. In addition to this, we've seen some peaks achieved on top of the network, some interesting experiments happening within the ecosystem with projects coming in and punching upwards at more users being brought on the network, at more transactions being deployed on the network, at new strategies of actually tapping other ecosystems and making sure that those are brought in some sense to the Multiverse X ecosystem. All of this will essentially move the goalpost forward. It's at the end of the day great to see this type of experiments, because the last thing you want is one type of stability that almost brings you in a direction where you're closer to stasis rather than to growth. The healthy version of an ecosystem is always punctuated by these interesting experiments that try to draw some new lessons, some new conclusions on how you can bring new users in the ecosystem, on how you can create, use, deploy more transactions, on how you can use some of these services for new initiatives. This is never simple. And if you look around at some of the other ecosystems, you'll see many other experiments. This is not to say that all experiments are, let's say, great, but we definitely want to see more experiments and more people focusing on distribution aspects and not only on products, because that's really key if we really want to win. So it was great to see some peaks in terms of accounts being created, and we now have a total of 6.7 million accounts, and then around 3.3 million transactions that were processed during one single day. Now, Of course, a lot of the effort that we've put together has been around developers. And we've had several initiatives that are going in the right direction and adding momentum, whether it's just the conversations that have been happening with the community and with X Alliance in London under the X Cities umbrella. Have seen a lot of good energy, a lot of explorations, discussions, and so forth. Hope to see many more such initiatives. But kudos to the people that have participated and engaged, just setting the flag in London and making sure that there is a kind of community there to help other builders, to prompt them to build something really cool, and to have constructive discussions around what can be built to really move things forward in the ecosystem. Another initiative is Buenos Aires meeting. Of course, we had the third event there in partnership with Rudder Labs, aiming to have a kind of hub in Argentina, which is extremely, extremely important as a hub, but then also a growth vector for the entire ecosystem. Of course, another set of initiatives has been happening around Turkey with the Rust Bootcamp. We have 3 cohorts of people, each featuring a new course and a live event. Basically, the first cohort, just for instance, has had more than 500 signups and about 270 selected people. It will also feature a hackathon. And so we've partnered there with Rise LN and especially K Khan. I hope I pronounced the name well enough. So this is really good for the ecosystem, healthy, and will bring a lot of momentum, especially where it matters most. Developers that really test, play with the technology, and really take it to the next level. Another important initiative that will probably begin with January 2025 will be what we call X Show. And X Show will be kind of dedicated type of session interview podcast that is aimed toward developers and will feature every month a kind of translation and distillation of some of the things that we generally feature in This Week in Elrond, in Multiverse X technology, and will feature key insights about the progress we're making, about the architectural updates, about the new tools that are coming in and need to be explained and put in front of the developers to make sure that they can use them, that they know about them, and this can be leveraged to the maximum. So we, in fact, have had a lot of positive discussions on this front. We've made a lot of progress with the sessions around validators, the sessions around developers, even the founders' conversations that we've had now and will keep on having. But we believe that adding another layer of translation will do and contribute a lot to just making this technology and insights the best type of tool that builders can really use. Now, of course, there's a lot of ecosystem momentum in addition to these initiatives, and we've seen some of the things that we've discussed last time just take form, take shape, and we've seen progress on them. And I'll just mention a few of them. Of course, X-Money had a kind of major upgrade, and I'm not yet discussing about the conversations that people have had on X around potential meetings with Musk and the US people and Trump and so forth. But I'm talking about the great news that we've shared about Greg, the new co-founder and CEO of X Money Global, that brings a sharpened focus, vision, capacity of execution, and that puts X Money in a position to become premier European stablecoin platform that will tackle some very, very specific type of services. We're extremely excited about the progress that has been made on this front. And we're in fact in the process of also, as mentioned last time, closing some rounds. And so as soon as some of these milestones have had a conclusion, we'll share them with you with great excitement to just take you on this journey as we move things forward. X Money is one step. Then there are some other, let's say, products updates that we've had that we've just seen good momentum on and significant steps on. One is X Exchange. We've had new leadership announce, 2 proposals for the community, from which we'll see the creation of the Strategic Growth Fund, some really great updates, new users, more volumes, improvements on that front that are really significant. And I must say that I really like the speed and momentum that has been coming to X Exchange with each of these new steps. Now, of course, there's also the Bridge V3 that we discussed about. And in the meantime, the Bridge is live, processing smart contract calls. Projects are now testing this, using it, and the infrastructure is greatly, let's say, at work, deployed, and already leveraged by the ecosystem. In the meantime, we've also seen an update on the Launchpad part with AI Nexus. We've just seen them being 11 times oversubscribed, more than 7.5 participants, and then $6.9 million pledged. Just some great milestones of the ecosystem that are taking shape and moving things forward. It's great to see this type of initiatives in the community and in the ecosystem happening. Now, there's also some other elements which are noteworthy and extremely interesting and important, and they're happening in the ecosystem, like USH from Hatom, that has been prepared and worked on for 1 or 2 years now, with great effort and dedication. And there's a lot of updates there from the team. We've seen not only great focus, but them attempting to really push the boundaries a bit and to bring some new ideas and new initiatives in the ecosystem to accelerate liquidity, to engage with the different, let's say, validators, the different stakeholders in the ecosystem. And it's really great to see that. Now, there's also other initiatives around the entire DeFi ecosystem. And again, across the board, we've just seen volumes go up, users grow, and then, of course, more fees being paid, such that the entire flywheel speeds and moves even faster. We've also seen a lot of on-chain activity coming from the sort of fun area, with meme coins taking shape, communities just pushing the boundaries there and trying some new things, whether it's just Bobber, Quack, Bogus, Looty, MultiversX, and so on. It's interesting and always great to see people having some fun and then also contributing to the adoption of the ecosystem. I've mentioned this, I think, previously, that it's just interesting how people tend to adopt these technologies. Sometimes it's quite surprising from what you usually think about. Now, there's also other projects in the ecosystem where we've seen quite significant progress, whether it's just Pulsar Money, Tada, and other builders that have pushed on distribution experiments, pushed to bring some more attention to what they're building, and making sure that they're seizing the opportunity that is in front of them, especially with the current momentum. So it's great to see the progress on the network and the progress on the ecosystem side, with a lot of projects just preparing to come and launch, or preparing for seizing the opportunity that is currently unfolding. Now, with this said, I'll also mention a bit about the big direction for 2025. And I'll mention first the context here, which is, at the end of the day, what we are focused on is finding the best way, the best strategy that enables us to win. What does winning mean? It means that this technology that has been built can be put to best use within unique market opportunities that really take shape as we move forward. So one of the ideas that, of course, we've been discussing about for more than 2-3 years now is this idea that at the end of the day, when we look at blockchains and we'll look maybe 50 or 100 years from the future back at this moment, we'll probably remember blockchains as the best tool that created a truth machine for humanity and for the world. And I'm stating this because I believe that more than anything, during the next 5 or 10 years, we're going to see an extraordinary adoption explosion at the intersection of blockchains and artificial intelligence. And of course, I'll explain a bit 3 points that are important catalysts for this movement and make this a reality today. Because we've seen versions of this, we've seen iterations of this throughout the last 2-3 years, and I've mentioned many examples of blockchain applications or just AI applications that could interplay extremely interesting on top of this technology. But right now, I believe that there's something fundamental that changes the game and provides what I've called a really great vibe shift. This is especially the US. The changes that have happened on the political arena, the election of the new president, Donald Trump, the type of leadership that he has brought around him to guide, navigate, and shape the regulatory landscape, the policies, and all of that, and the momentum that the US just builds up to really bring a new kind of golden age or a new kind of unique moment where people, whether they're builders from the general technology space, whether they're builders from the AI space or the crypto space, will start looking at the US as the most important arena in the world, where they'll want to be and they'll want to leverage it because of the different extraordinary benefits, the different network effects, and the opportunities that will exist in the US. Now, we've already seen this. We've already seen part of this being priced in the market. The market just exploding with positive sentiment because of this new elections, because of expected regulatory clarifications, and because of new leadership people that are looking to shape, cultivate, and accelerate this type of interaction. And it's interesting that in the US, the role that has been created specifically to focus on blockchain and on AI is not a separated role, but it's one that focuses on blockchain and AI combined in some sense, understanding that this might be the two technologies that will shape the next decade, maybe. So this is a very, very important environment change and very positive update that has created the wave that will probably start lifting all the boats. We've been discussing about this for a very long time, but as you see the US changing and becoming positive toward crypto, positive around AI, and making sure that all the different builders in the world understand that the US is the crypto capital and AI capital of the world, we'll see all the other countries being either forced to reconsider their positions or just be in a position where they are left out. And I think the smartest countries in the world will look to benefit from this opportunity, position themselves to attract builders, to eliminate unnecessary regulation, but then create environments where builders can really thrive, because that's the most important thing that they want and that they understand will benefit them as countries or even continents during the next period. So to sum up, the US is just preparing for one of the best times ever in terms of just regulation, concentration of, let's say, brain power from key people around the world, talent attraction, and then capital growth that will probably be unmatched to any other place in the world. The second important element that I believe will be the conversation just as a derivative from this point is the highest impact that we'll probably see is not only tied to the US, but then, as I've mentioned before, at the intersection of blockchains and AI. And what do I mean by that? I think this idea of building a truth machine for humanity will be the central point that will be the almost antithesis to AI becoming super intelligent, extremely capable, and then taking shapes in all applications that we use within our lives. Just making things simpler, better, more effective, and giving us a better experience, a better interaction. Within that space, the faster AI explodes, the faster it improves, the better the counterforce will have to be in order to counteract, in order to provide a ground that cannot be forged, an unforgeable substrate where AI agents, AI in all its forms, can be transparent, can be useful, and can be accountable as we scale and embed this in all the interactions that we're trying to put forward. Now, these 2 points are crucial because we could essentially expand a lot on what the US will do and what AI and crypto might look like in practice. But what I want to share is more like the general idea that a lot of months, probably from 2025, I'll be on the road, I'll be in the US specifically because we need to be there. There's absolutely no discussion. and I'll also probably share some things with you. I'll be very much looking forward to hearing maybe some thoughts around what states you believe might be the most strategic, the most interesting, and what applications you see as the most interesting potential killer applications for the different layers that we've built. Now, you remember that I've discussed a lot about some even specifics, specific tools, specific APIs based on blockchains that could really change reality. What do I mean by that? Could really enable us to verify some of the things that are beyond our senses already. So I do believe that, to summarize, one, US will be the most important play during the next years because of these changes that will be positive, huge positive catalysts for projects to build, for them to get really smart and effective support, for them to connect with other builders, with large communities and all of that. And that even more than that, the intersection of blockchain and AI will be one of the most productive and fertile grounds to explore and deploy everything that we've built. I encourage you to take a look at this and think about how you would navigate this, what you would build on this. And as we move forward, we'll also share some very important updates around this. As we enter the US and make some strategic, bold moves there, as we try to focus and give more attention to the ecosystem and to the builders within the ecosystem, we want to give them this direction and enable them to make everything they're building more interesting, more effective, and more useful, so that it can really take off. At the end of the day, what we really want is, again, to just put this technology in the best position possible to be extremely useful for society, extremely useful for everyday lives. And this we can do by being aware and attuned to some of these important steps that are being done at the geopolitical and macro scale. Last point that I will mention is this: to really take things in the right direction for the ecosystem and create a focused discussion around what builders can do, what the network really needs, what are some of the pillars and North Star metrics that we really look at. We've also put together what we call MultiverseX growth games. And this is a very, let's say, important and strategic initiative that just puts together several efforts that we wanted to share in a comprehensive way, in a focused way, and enables us to say, let's have some focused efforts with the entire ecosystem to really drive growth, enabling the builders to contribute to the growth, enabling them to know what we or the network really cares about, and sharing this to actually receive feedback around it, to improve it. Now, the MultiversX growth games will be an initiative that will come with many updates. As we iterate and experiment, we'll learn some lessons, we'll look at what works, we'll make changes, and make sure that this is one of the engines that really takes ideas that we put together and makes them a reality, makes them very specific, and enables the builders to just navigate around this and push the growth metrics and the most important levers within the network to new milestones, to new levels, and just grows the entire pie even further. A few things to note that you'll discover about the growth games. We'll probably share either on Thursday or on Friday, focused update with documentation, with all the details about why this really matters, but then also the details. And just for you to have in mind, there will be 3 pillars: the build pillar, the accelerate pillar, and the launch pillar. This initiative, this growth initiative, will just be shipping a kind of 1.5 million incentive program, and it will drive things forward on several phases. The initial phase, where we focus on some ideas that we really want built, and you can explore and iterate on them. The accelerate phase, where we take some of the projects that exist and help them to really accelerate on some of the things that are doing great, and they just need to take them to a completely new level. And the launch pillar, where we take some projects that are demonstrating exceptional focus and ability, and we invest in them and bring them to the launchpad and within the ecosystem. The most important part is this is one new initiative that will focus the ecosystem, that will accelerate the momentum, and give people something very clear to look at and to build around. So we're extremely excited that through this we'll get new tools, new incentives, and then the direction will be a lot clearer for the entire ecosystem. Now, I'll just zoom out and mention a few things. We are now in a position where the entire macro landscape has shifted completely to a very, very positive and great, let's say, potential time for seizing the opportunity. Everything we've built that has taken many, many years, that we discussed around, where we were mentioning that maybe governments of the world will adopt this technology, most important funds will adopt this technology, educational universities will adopt these technologies, builders from all over the world will build at the forefront of these technologies. All that is right now happening. And we are at the frontier of this wave with everything we've built, just ready to ride this wave, to deploy some of the upgrades within the network, and then help everyone within the ecosystem get aligned and make sure they win. This is a very unique moment. It's a moment to look at, to focus all the energy and attention, and to believe in something. Because right now, we see the most important changes that we were waiting for and that are now live. So the growth that we've seen in the ecosystem, the updates that we've seen around the ecosystem, I believe they're only the starting point. I do believe that 2025 might be by far the very best year that we've gotten up until this point, and will make it that because we're focusing on things, because the timing and environment are in an unparalleled state to everything that we've seen before, and because we understand that coming together and seizing this opportunity is the thing that we really want to do. Now, to close, I will just share a few things. One, the infrastructure is stronger than ever. It's live and it's working. It's working in an unprecedented way. The energy of the community, of the people, after a very, let's say, long period and long time, is back up People are looking at what's happening and then coming back, waking up, and looking to contribute. And the focus also for the next year will be around the US. It will be around the intersection of AI and blockchain. And the initiatives that we're putting together are now such that they elevate the entire conversation for builders, give them a special focus, and open a larger conversation around these subjects. These are very open subjects. I think we're going to see tens, hundreds, and thousands of applications being built. And we're probably going to see the next Amazon, the next Google, built on this new layer that will be at the intersection of blockchain AI. I do believe that Multiverse X is especially well positioned to tackle some of these directions. And during the next period, we'll share some new ideas, some new updates, and some very, very, let's say, exciting explorations that we're going to do with you and within the community. Because instead of jumping to the entire conclusion, we want to make this an entire conversation for all builders to take a look at, for the entire community to take a look at, and to share some of these ideas before we share, let's say, maybe some of the best updates that we've gotten up until this point. Now, I'll also share this. The holidays are a time to recharge, reconnect, reflect on the progress that has been made, that we've made together. And of course, with January, the engines are starting in full force. We are focused and ready, and the conversations that we've been having on all fronts, all activities, whether it's ecosystem, whether it's in the US, whether it's for new use cases and applications, are absolutely remarkable. Could not be more excited than to live this time, to see it finally come to fruition and look at it in a new light. So thank you for being part of this journey. Wish you a warm and very happy holiday, and definitely get ready to build. Let's make 2025 the best year for Multiverse X. Believe in something and seize the opportunity, because now it's the moment. Thank you, and wish you the warmest holidays. Take care. Bye-bye.